Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness. I am your host, Russell Broderick. This way, I know I'm right this time.
Nope.
Fuck!
But I'm right.
Dario got it right.
I'm right. Yep, like
Over
always.
yonder is Dario Albuquerque. Broderick. Off camera is the very proud mother, Lindsay Lehman. How we doing?
Okay.
Well,
One day,
excited.
I'm going to get that perfect.
I'm fucking
It's
excited.
going to happen. But today, we are continuing something that we sort of started on Mamba Day, but we didn't really get into. We're going to begin the official legacy breakdown. Holy shit, he's getting up in the air.
Oh my God.
Of the Mamba, one of the greatest, definitively one of the at least 10 greatest players to ever play the game. And either the best or second best player, and those two are not very close to anybody else, of the era that we grew up in.
Oh,
right?
Facts.
The Bean, the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant.
That's
Also,
even a question for anybody.
Dario's favorite player of all time, and the reason why Dario loves the game of basketball.
My GOAT. Yeah,
in case our previous podcast didn't tell you that he loves
You
Kobe.
you wanna talk about when you how you first got into basketball for 2 seconds?
All right, yeah.
It gives me a reason to put Kobe Clinic on.
Yeah. So I originally started watching basketball really in 2009, and but Kobe was always my favorite player because I had seen highlights of him and just kind of I knew about him and knew about him the most. And whenever I played any 2K game, I just played with Kobe and just wild out on people. So he was and I always knew how great he was. So in 2009 was when I first really started watching basketball, and I was rooting for him the whole way, and then he just dominated and won the championship. And as we said before, this is his apex greatest year. So I pretty much started watching him when he was at his very best. So it kind of, and then just seeing his mentality and the way he just approached the game and his life, and just the way he was always so focused and wanted to be the best at everything. And it kind of molded me in that way where I'm very competitive, and I kind of just followed a lot of his ways, and it made me, I don't know, started making me do better in school and shit like that, just because I wanted to be competitive and better than all my friends. And some of my friends hated me for it, which fuck them, I don't care. But that's what he kind of molded me in that way, and then ever since I just loved him.
Lindsay, what do you think about Kobe Bryant? I've never actually asked you directly how you feel about Kobe Bryant.
So I got interested in basketball right at the end of his career, and the end of his career was not as fantastic as the rest of it. So I really didn't get to experience Kobe in that way, but his highlights and his play, it's all amazing. He's not my favorite player because I didn't experience him.
So to the opposite of Dario, I basically started watching basketball in 2008. I would say as a fan. And because I loved Kevin Garnett and his intensity. And then the Celtics, I watched the Celtics just destroy everyone, including this man that we're looking at right here. And during his MVP season, so I knew that he was doing work. But growing up, I had no appreciation for Kobe Bryant. I thought he was the most selfish player on the floor and in the league, including money-wise, and we'll get into that. And I think this is going to be interesting because I think we're going to have two different perceptions here of Kobe's career. I think at the end, we'll get, hopefully, the clearest perspective. Or it'll just be a lot of arguing, one way or the other. But I'm ready. So without any further ado, let's get into him being drafted, because that's a whole story.
So Kobe was drafted out of high school after winning 4 state championships back-to-back for his high school. And then the same year he was drafted, wasn't Shaq brought to the Lakers from free agency or something, right?
It
So
was the same. It was the same year or the year after.
It was the same year.
it was
It's
the
the
same
same
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was part of their pitch to Shaq, was that
Yeah.
they're getting this kid named Kobe Bryant. He's supposed to be the next MJ or something.
So, but he didn't get drafted by the Lakers. He got traded to the Lakers after being drafted.
Yeah.
Do you know the full trade for that by chance?
No, I just
Me
know
or-
there was Vlade Divac involved, right?
Yeah, I know Divac was involved. We could look this up real quick. This can be researched.
I could see Divac in a pick, but
That's crazy.
so it's a huge
Bryant,
steal
that's where
because
Hornets
Vlade
drafted him.
Divac was ass cheeks, and you got arguably a top 5 player of all time, easily a top 10 player of all time.
Wow.
Wow.
It almost didn't happen. According to Mitch Kupchak, it almost didn't happen. Wow. Because I always think about, like, Charlotte wasn't owned by the league, right? I'm messing that up. I'm thinking of New Orleans, right? Because I'm thinking, like,
Was New Orleans owned by the league? I thought it was
either way, I was
Yeah.
surprised that the Hornets, even if they picked him, let him just walk so easily. Like, they traded him away so easily. They didn't even let him, like, did he even get on the practice court for Charlotte? Probably not.
no, I don't think so.
It was a draft day trade, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. It might have been one of those things where they already had it like set up and planned that it was going to be traded. He was going to be traded. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, there you go. Charlotte Hornets selected Bryant with the 13 overall pick, but immediately traded him to the Lakers in exchange for Vlade Divac. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Charlotte never wanted me, Kobe said in 2005. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so wild. But okay, so he's with the Lakers with Shaq, right? So Shaq is how many years removed from his first NBA Finals?
His first NBA Finals was what 95?
No, it was 95.
I think
it was the
I think
Rockets'
he
second
beat
one,
the
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because they beat the Bulls that in the playoffs that year. I think that's the same year they went to the finals.
And I know that.
So it was 2 years before. Yeah.
So basically, Shaq saw that Alonzo Mourning got over $100 million contract, and Shaq, who was originally fine signing, he was getting ready to sign with the Magic for whatever. Then saw that contract, and he was like, "Well, I got to be the highest paid center in the NBA,"
which makes sense.
Yeah, considering at that point he was just removed from carrying his team with Penny Hardaway, but being the leader of the team that made the NBA Finals, a very young team, in 94-95. And then the next year he makes the playoffs. This is the year he loses to MJ, right? And they get smashed.
In 96, they lose to MJ.
Yeah.
So the year after, the 95-96 season.
Yeah. So yeah, that would make sense.
Yep.
But at this point, 25-11 basically, with 2 blocks a game for your playoffs run, and he leaves and goes to LA the very next year.
Yeah.
That must have been like the biggest deal at the time.
You know how nice you got to be, because he went to the conference? He went to the finals, and then he lost in the semifinals to the Bulls, or was it in the conference finals?
It was I want to say it was the semis.
12 games is a lot for the semis. I feel like that's
but
because they got swept against the Bulls, so it couldn't be. I feel like it had to be the conference finals.
That actually makes more sense.
Because I know they got swept against the Bulls, and that's still 8 games left, or maybe it was 6 games against the Bulls.
No, I think it was.
Then they went to the. But then they went to the Western Conference final. Yeah, they got.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so. But then they went to the Western Conference Finals 2 years later and got swept against the Jazz. But it's it's still impressive to like, because it's not easy to go with conference to conference and just dominate.
Well, here's my thing. At this point, I'm just talking strictly when he goes to LA, Shaq, because that's a big part of Kobe's rise. And we'll get into that because without that, I don't think Kobe becomes the superstar that he does so quickly. But if we're looking here,
I don't know, but we
can
could
get
talk
into that.
about that.
23 years old, 25 and 10, and had already taken your team to the finals. And now he's coming to LA to play. And Jerry West says to him, I got this guy in the draft who is the best young player I've ever seen, according to Jerry West. And that's what got him to sign. That was one of the bigger reasons, that and the 120.
Yeah. And I mean, LA. I'm pretty sure LA was a huge thing because if you look at that shortly after, he started making films. And
oh, yeah, like, I'm sure that helped.
Yeah.
But I think, but he was getting that shit in Orlando. He was. He was already making those movies and stuff, or starting to at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, he doubled his money by going to LA.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. But
and I'm sure his off the court, because going from LA to LA over almost any market is gonna get you more money just off the court. So I'm sure that was a huge part of his thought process. Like I don't know how much I don't know how much he expected from Kobe. Like,
sure.
Yeah. Especially like when you look at his first year, Kobe barely had minutes. He only had like 7 points a game, some shit like that. Like I'm sure Shaq wasn't looking at him like, oh, this is gonna be the guy to help me like help me be great.
I don't know, but I think there was definitely a part of him that knew there was something there by the time, like, because even as a rookie, like, he had pretty significant moments.
I know Shaq. I know Kobe did talk about Shaq. Shaq helping him out, like being a leader and stuff, and kind of like making him feel more comfortable in games and stuff, and like giving him those little pep talks and stuff whenever he messed up in a game or it seemed like it was a pressured situation. So, I mean, Shaq definitely did his thing in the beginning. I feel like
the work ethic was there, though, pretty much out of the gate.
From Kobe?
Yeah. He was working out with the guys at UCLA's campus, I'm pretty sure. All the time at this point in his career, when he was entering his rookie year and beyond. Like those first couple of years, he spent a lot of time doing that. And it showed. It wasn't his rookie year, but it was. He didn't. When did he start finally?
It was in '99.
So 2 years later, right?
Yeah.
So next year, his sophomore year, he's an all-star, but despite not starting on his team.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And I think there was like 3 or 4 Lakers that were all-stars that year.
Yeah.
I think it was Kobe, Shaq, and maybe Eddie. What is his name? Eddie Jones, or whatever.
Yeah, Eddie Jones. Hold on, I can look into that because I think I had that season up.
But yeah, MJ started was talking about how Kobe's like a dog or some shit, and he was saying that he'll shoot it if you don't make him pass it or some shit. He's like,
oh, he's talking about the little Laker boy.
Yeah, the little Laker boy. Yeah,
in the All-Star game. Hold on, I gotta find the All-Star team because I wanted.
But that's insane to like. Would that ever happen now? How many bench players become all-stars? I feel like that never happens.
That doesn't happen. That's why I wanted to bring it up because it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So Kobe, I can't click on the fucking. It's annoying.
It's fine. It's Kobe, Eddie Jones, and Shaq.
Oh, you're looking for the 4 players. So we got Shaq.
Yeah, I think it might just be 3.
Was Nick Van Elt's still a Laker?
Oh yeah, he might have been. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Eddie Jones, Kobe Bryant. That would be the 4.
Yeah.
But once he grabs a little bit more minutes, rookie year, you said 7 points a game, right?
Yeah.
Grabs a little bit more minutes, right? 26 minutes a game, 15 points. We're gonna do. If you look
so inefficient too.
Yeah, we're gonna. Well, that's gonna be something that follows him throughout his whole career.
But one thing that was really bad with him is especially those first 2 years is his biggest issue and his biggest criticism from the media was that he took a lot of shots and took a lot of bad shots. Like so and that next year when Phil comes, he like matured. Before the year even started, they were talking about how he matured and stuff and kind of and you could tell in his game because he stopped taking those crazy ass shots. So
we're gonna talk about those a couple of those, the craziest ass shots that he had that season. So this is the playoffs, right? Versus Utah Jazz. The Jazz are gonna go on to make the. Am I wrong? The Jazz are going to make the finals this year. Is that okay?
Yeah, because this is 97. Yeah, 97 and 98. Oh well, this is 98 at this point because I think this is Is this the
lockout year?
No, 99 is the lockout year. I think this is
the last Bulls year. Yeah, definitely. This is the last Bulls year. His second year is the last Bulls year. Okay.
Yeah.
Had to be positive because I was bugging out.
Yeah.
But so they're up 2 this whole time. Right? Now they go up 4 because he missed the first one, right? Airballed it.
Yeah.
Right? Kobe gets the ball again. Makes it, right? Every time Go ahead.
Shaq gets fouled out. He got fouled out in this game, right? At this point.
Yeah, he's not in, so I would assume.
Yeah.
I would recognize his big ass. Karl Malone's the MVP. Right? Or is it MJ? Oh no, it's MJ. No, this is the last dance year. It's MJ.
Oh yeah, you're right. 97, he was MVP.
Yeah. But this is, needless to say, a prime Karl Malone.
Yeah. Well, let's just put it in perspective. This is a Utah team that's back to back. Like they've already went to the finals the year before.
Yeah.
And they were like the clear favorite in the West.
Yeah.
I think I want to say. Oh no, not this year. I don't think this year the Lakers have 61 wins. I think the next year they get 61 wins. I can't remember.
I'll look into their win totals in a second. I probably should do it beforehand. I usually do, but this is overtime now. So Kobe, another chance.
Yeah.
Horrific airball.
Yeah.
And is that it? That's it. The game. Oh my God! Look what disgust.
No, I think there's one. It might be another mid-range one that he takes.
Nah, they're shaking hands. It looks over.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know there was a mid-range one that he airballed out.
But Kobe hugged him after that, and he said, or Shaq hugged him after that, and he said, "I know you missed these today, but one day people will fear you for taking those shots."
Yeah.
Very legendary kind of deal. All right, so the Lakers win total.
And as you're looking that up, so when I was reading that magazine, this is stuff that this is the stuff that I wanted. It was 61 wins.
Yeah.
Okay. So after the Utah had 62 wins. That's the Sonics had 61. What the fuck?
Yeah, but listen to me. Remember what we? I remember.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of.
This was there were teams that were sweet, and there were teams that sucked horribly, and there was no middle ground.
Yeah.
Like it jumps from 20 wins to 40 wins. It's
27 to 46. That's insane.
Yeah, there's no.
The East is definitely more.
But even then, 16 to 36 is like these are closer to middle ground, but the middle ground is very. There's way less teams in that middle of the pack. It's just like 60, 50 wins and then like teens.
What's insane is that Bulls team was injured most of that year and they fucking had 62 wins.
The infamous last dance season. But okay, let's go to you were saying about the Lakers though?
But yeah, so the next year, and we're probably not going to have to talk this in depth about next year anyways, but that next year Kobe Kobe obviously works out in the off season, and then they face Utah in November of that year, and he comes in clutch and hits so many shots, and everyone that's kind of his coming out party in terms of that's when people started saying like, oh wow, he's changed, he's a different player. So, but it's just funny because that happened literally the year before, and he wanted his revenge. So, and he got it. But it was regular season.
He came out the following season, like as you said, they got Phil Jackson the very next year, right?
Yeah.
Del Harris was the coach. Very next year. No, there's one more year with Del Harris. That's why I wasn't crazy. They do one more season, and that's
sure?
I'm looking at it right with you together. Look,
I thought that they
look. This is the lockout year. They did not have Phil in the lockout.
I thought they got Phil at the end of the year. Maybe I'm bugging. Okay. Well, I am. Obviously, I'm bugging. It's not maybe. It's obvious.
But the very next year, right, in the lockout season, Kobe moves up again. Now he's starting.
Yeah.
Right? Almost 38 minutes a game. Almost 20 points a game. Five rebounds.
That's pretty much 20 points a game, Ross.
I said it was pretty much 20 points a game.
You said almost. That's 20.
He's point one away, but almost.
Yeah, almost. But hold on, I want to see the playoff numbers. Because Shaq's 1 year away from his I'm going to be in shape the whole year season.
Freaking
But I wanted to see Kobe's playoff numbers. So Kobe's playoff numbers are exactly the same as his. He did not bump up in the regular season. That's interesting, or in the playoffs rather.
Yeah,
that's interesting to me. I didn't know that. And that's when they lost to the Spurs, right?
Yes. Yep. I think they got swept.
Damn.
Yeah. In the second round, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's actually right. Hold on.
I have all of it right here. So they beat Rockets 3-1, and then they lost to the Spurs and got swept after that.
No.
And that's the lockout year, and the Spurs went on to win the chip. Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Kobe's numbers in that Spurs season. Or in the Spurs series, fault.
You probably just go to game log and
I'm going right now. I'm going to the series. So Spurs over Lakers, clean sweep. Because I wanted to see what Duncan did. Because this is obviously Duncan is entering, knowing what he's doing. 29-10.
Yeah.
With 29-11. Since you guys want to round.
Yeah.
One steal and 2 blocks in a clean sweep. 44 minutes a game.
It's not that we want to round. It's like you round up from like 10.4 to 11. And you see 10.8 and you're like, oh, 10.
Kobe, 45% shooting, 21 points a game, 21, 6 and 3. With a steal, half a block. Shaq shot only 49%, 23 points per game. So that's why he came in. He was humbled in the series.
Yeah.
For that guy who's like a career 60% field goal shooter or close to it, to go down to under 50 is that's a beat.
You see, and to me, all right. So with this 45% shooting, I know it seems like it's very inefficient, but if you look at the league averages during all of these years, Kobe's right at league average throughout like most of his career.
Okay.
So I just want to throw that out because we make it seem like it's super inefficient.
Thanks for the report.
Yeah, I'm just saying you make it seem like it's inefficient, but that's league average.
I'm only saying it's inefficient.
But like the standout star is doing average.
I'm only saying it's inefficient because he's in comparison to what we know today, it's extremely inefficient.
I disagree.
I mean, okay. But this says otherwise. But we're not even in the prime of his career yet, so I would wait to argue until we get there.
Okay.
So, so next year, right? The very next year, Shaq comes in, and this man is in shape. And it was like everyone or most of the people who wrote at the time or were commentating on the league at the time say that this was the one season where Shaq came in the league not like he was playing himself into shape, but he came ready. And he said almost 30 points, almost 14 rebounds, and almost 4 assists a game. But Kobe Bryant, at the same time, is still moving up the ladder, right? Once again, so we got every year he's moving his point total up. Every year, getting a little bit better, a little bit stronger, right? Only played six games this year, though. But go ahead.
But before we go to that, just because, I know we usually, but I was watching a lot of game tape, and I was also hearing I was like reading a lot of stuff that they said about him. And do you think, especially for that '99 year, do you think Kobe was very? I feel like it sounded so much like Russell Westbrook, like the way that they were talking about him. He was very fast paced.
Sure.
He took a lot of wild shots.
Yeah.
He didn't really like, his tempo was different than the team's tempo, and I feel like there's a lot of Westbrook comparisons there. And
he only got 3 MVP votes, but he got very, very small consideration. He was considered as becoming one of the league's best players at this point. It was starting to happen. Yeah. That's why I bring this up. Not to show that he only had fucking 3 votes, but just that even though Shaq took almost unanimous, one person voted for Allen Iverson. Almost unanimous MVP vote, first place votes.
Wow.
People still acknowledge Kobe as doing his thing, is why I bring this up. But let's see what happens when we go to the postseason, because we like to do that.
To me, that's insane that they even have him there. Because it's like,
Kobe there?
Why? Yeah, especially like 12th. Like, you can't. I guess they're saying he was the 12th best player in the league.
To be on the ballot.
Where was he in All NBA?
That's a good question. I'll tell you that in 2 seconds. No, not 2000. The year before.
No, it's 2000.
No, 2000 All NBA. He was second team.
Yeah.
So again, it's so interesting to me because in my head, when I think of Kobe, I think of a guy who steps up in the postseason, and when we know that during this first championship run, and I'll put some highlights of that on while we talk about this in the background.
Yeah.
It's just the Western Conference. Is this the right year? Do I have the right year?
No, it's 99. You want 2000.
Got it. I was like, I know I have it up here somewhere.
Yeah.
But when we think about Kobe it's always very obvious to see the difference between regular season and playoffs. And we know that Kobe definitively has moments in especially this final series, where he carries the whole team. You know what I mean? So I always find it interesting when I look at the statistical difference between playoffs and regular season, and notice that it doesn't gap. But when I think about it,
well, that goes back to our ongoing discussion with how stats lie, because you'd know if anyone who would like watch the games at that point, if you watch the playoff Kobe versus regular season Kobe, you could see a difference, at least in demeanor or like the way he like controlled the game. Like, I don't know. After that game, but I mentioned that before.
A jump shot? Ew.
Well, his jump shots is like those one-handed. Like he did that.
That hook is so deep. Everything he shoots that's not a dunk is so atrocious looking. It just looks like Charles golf swing. It's bad. So bad. It's just like, ugh.
He looks like he's trying so hard to like make it like go
imagine,
in.
Imagine Shrek playing basketball.
Oh
but yeah. Oh, this goes back to something I was talking about on Mamba Day, as we see Kobe drive to the basket there, little spin, shoot smooth.
Yeah.
The crossover. 90% of his moves at this point in his career, and maybe this is because you have Shaq down low and there's no real room in the post to operate. They all start from that one quick crossover, and then he explodes from there, right?
Yeah.
And I just think when we get into the second run of him winning championships, his game is so different. I feel like that's important to note. His game is so different. The athleticism is pretty much there, but the game is very different, in my opinion. Just how it looks.
Yeah.
Woo! You drop down past that one. How much do you think you liked having Shaq on his team for real? Like when you take away all the bullshit.
I think if Shaq would have done what he did in 2000, like how you said how he was physically there every game.
Yeah.
I think Kobe would have never had an issue with Shaq. Because if you look at it, like that was his biggest thing. A lot of people like try to make it seem like it was him being selfish and wanting to just like do great. And you can see in 2001 he was pretty selfish in 2001 throughout the regular season. But when he got injured, we'll talk about it. But when he got injured, he noticed that the team played better when he was injured. He changed his whole game and he flowed better with the team. So I feel like you can't call it a player selfish if he's willing to do that.
What point did you say that?
We'll talk about it in 2001. In 2001, it happens towards the end of the season. He gets injured.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say you got me tripping out because I'm seeing him injured right now.
Oh
like,
yeah.
No. About right now.
And that injury is crazy because Jalen Rose tried to injure him on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the
Talk to me about that because I know that's a whole thing, and that'll be a sticking point when we get to something that happens later.
Wait, dead ass?
So here you go.
No, he did. Yeah, and Jalen Rose admitted it 10 years later.
So talk about the story.
That's some shit.
So Kobe was going up for like a baseline jump shot, I think, and Jalen Rose stuck his foot under. It was kind of like the Kawhi Zaza situation. You know how Zaza put his foot under Kawhi, and ever since Kawhi is pretty much fucked up Kawhi's career, or at least messed with his shit. Like he tried to do that too. Jalen Rose tried to get him out of the series.
That's crazy.
Which you can't. Like I could understand, but it's just like
Is it really a do what you gotta do thing? Like, is that really?
To me that's dirty. To me that's super dirty. But
oh, it's dirty. But I mean, what if they?
I would never do that. Like,
I mean, no, of course not. But Jalen Rose, you want to win a championship. How bad do you want to win a championship?
I don't want to hurt someone for a championship.
That puts you in I guess that you would disagree with the Pacers then.
Yeah. But that Pacers defense was actually really tough. It didn't look tough for Shaq, but it was definitely a great perimeter defense.
So what were Kobe's final finals?
He actually did pretty bad. I feel like if you look at statistically, and this is what I talk about all the time, like stats. Like if you look at the stats, it's gonna look disgusting. But then when you look at like the actual game, you're gonna be like, oh, he did that. Like it's just different. He shot, I'm pretty sure, like 30-something%.
Yeah, but it looked like he was moving the ball around.
Yeah, he did other things for sure.
Yeah, so much to your point, 37%, 15 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Still got a block. He's still doing like he played hard.
Yeah, he was playing defense. That was the thing about Kobe is he could,
He had no choice. He had to guard Reggie and Jalen Rose and stop him from putting in work.
Yeah,
because both these guys, it's almost 50 points combined a game. That's their offense. Yeah. He's going to be either switching to one or guarding the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and plus, like when you got an automatic bucket there, like no one was fucking with Shaq. So
well, that's the other thing I want to show. Much to the reason why I wanted to bring up the 43% in the year before. This is what I'm used to seeing from Shaq: 61%, 45 minutes played, 38, basically 17. A steal, basically 3 blocks, 2 assists.
And And to put that in perspective, in the finals, he did what Kareem was doing in the 70s. Remember Kareem was averaging 33 and 17. My man averaged 38 and 17 in the finals 30 years later. So that's why they talked about this guy as being the most dominant player ever.
Which is the game where Shaq fouls out? What game is that?
Game 4.
Okay. Still put up 36. And this was the end.
Yeah, because they run. The whole thing is they ran. They ran the team, the whole game through him.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Whatever we need.
Oh yeah.
Don't you love it? Don't you love shit like that works out? So
that was all planned, guys. That was all planned.
But when we talk about Game 4, Kobe 28 points in this game. Most of them came in the fourth quarter, I believe.
Yeah, and I think didn't it go to overtime as well?
I think so. Hold on, we'll get back to the highlights because we can break this down. Okay, so yes, overtime. So fourth quarter, we can literally break it down by quarter. Shaq 14 points, so we're going to overtime. Yeah, Kobe. Shaq fouls out in overtime.
Yeah,
and then Kobe finishes it.
8 points, 4 for 5.
Yeah,
shooting. Yeah,
completely. Hold on, let me see if I can get to that spot in the game. Because this is the this is big for him.
Yeah, this is, and you'll see that segment at some point. But when we talk about games that put players on the map, I feel like this is probably Kobe's game. In terms of when they look at him as a superstar and shit.
Yeah.
The beginning. So.
Well, there's is the thing that he did against the Spurs after this?
In 01? Yeah.
Okay, so it's after this. So
put 45 on the motherfucker.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Hold this dick, boy.
But so this is the end of the game right here. 53 seconds in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And think about this: 2 years before this, he had just finished airballing.
Yeah,
and so he to get to this point, to get to the NBA Finals, overtime. This is a game that matters a lot because this puts them up 3-1. This is close. This pretty much clears out the series because at that point, no one has ever come back from a 3-1 deficit.
And it's really hard to come back from a deficit when you have guaranteed 2 points every single time down the floor.
Stop. You guys are not giving Rick Smits enough credit here. Come on.
Sorry, he let Shaq put up 61% from the field. He gets no credit.
I don't know why they didn't I don't know when they thought of Pack a Shaq, but they should have thought of it by this point.
Word.
That would have been the perfect thing to do.
But I'm waiting
up that whole shit.
Shaq's probably just about ready to. Okay, so here we go. About to be the end of the game. Who's getting the last shot here at the end of the regulation? Kobe or Shaq?
I'm assuming.
Oh,
is it Shaq?
And he fucking bricked it. Should have went to Kobe.
I'm trying to tell you. You'll see why they go to Kobe now. They're forced.
Here we go. This is the part we're waiting for here. So Kobe's starting to do work.
Yeah.
Starting to not pass it to Shaq here.
Yeah. He's like, it's all good, boy. It's all good, baby boy.
So I'm pretty sure that's the foul, right?
Yeah. And he's like, oh, you fucking... Shaq looked like such a big baby. He's such a oversized baby.
You know why? He has no hair on his head.
I know.
That's what it is.
It's just...
Fouled out 36 and 21.
He needs 3 things of hair right on the top of his head, and he'll be the biggest baby in the world.
The Tommy Pickles. That's what he needs.
The Tommy Pickles. Facts.
This is fucking.
And Kobe tells him, he's like, yo, don't worry, boy.
Yeah. So what happened? So wait. So let me get into this. So what happened was, the year before, he and Reggie Miller had worked out in the summer because Reggie Miller is from California. So he knew. Basically, what Kobe said, and the thing that he did with Shaq right before he passed away, the NBA thing, is he proceeded to measure Reggie. And as you can see, that's Reggie guarding him, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
And look, he's just going to measure him out. And this step back move, on his jump shot, Reggie taught him that move. And now he's kicking his ass with it in the finals. I love that. And Kobe would go on to use this step back a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it becomes a pretty
And then,
but Kobe has so many
We're bring it to 2020. The step back is,
oh yeah,
the biggest move in the fucking game right now. But
yeah,
this step back's a little different. It's a little more not a travel at all.
Yeah, just a little hezzy. Yeah,
but no, go ahead. What were you gonna say before?
But look at this man. What was it? What was I saying? I don't know. It's just great to see it, like this. This is why I love his story so much, though. Like just hearing how, he wasn't he wasn't the normal, I guess. What would we call it? Transcendent player where they get into the NBA and they automatically just dominated. Like if you look at most of the all-time greats or the top 10 all-time, every single one of them from the very beginning of their career to whatever they get injured or whatever, they dominated the game. And Kobe, he kind of like grew into that. So it's just nice to see that happen. Like, in this game is like just showing you.
Well, he had the benefit, and so now we get into now we're here. But I just wanted to point out Game 4 in particular because to your point, I think that's really his on the map moment. Like,
yeah.
He had big games, and he was obviously a star. He was an all-star the year before, so he was obviously on the come up in the league. But that was the game. That was the big game that kind of like let everybody know that this guy can really put the team on his back if we need him.
That gave him definitely the confidence to like.
Yeah.
And I think that's that game kind of directed him towards the very next season, I think even if they would have lost this series somehow, I think that would have changed Kobe because he saw I could lead my team to victory if I have to, and I think that kind of because in Game 6, if we were to like look stuff up, like he definitely seemed like a different player in Game 6 too, like where he seemed more mature.
Of this finals?
Yeah, that same finals. He was, and I think the stats show it too. Like he did really good in that game too. Because Game 5 most likely was at Indiana, and I could see why they wouldn't win at Indiana.
He definitely did good if he's shooting through double teams like that. That was wild.
Yeah. But he's definitely like doing the same shit where he was just like telling them like calm down, we got this shit. Like, and I feel like you see my boy, sexy ass nigga, man. No homo. No homo. I could talk about my dad like that. We all right. All right? It's different when you talk about your pops.
It's about your father, I agree.
Yeah. But
people
like he just
no homo?
Shut up.
Hey. But like you see the swagger come out, like definitely at that point, and I think it kind of changed. He's controlling the game. Like he's obviously he's playing good defense during the series, and he was passing, he was scoring, he was facilitating the offense. Shaq is lying. Why are you lying? You're big ass. Get the fuck up. You're just tired.
Nah, he put all 300 pounds into his left knee.
Yeah, maybe.
He fell.
But yeah,
never mind.
But you see, like he's definitely facilitating. He's kind of controlling the whole offense. So I think that after that game, it just jump started something in his mind, and then that offseason is just where he elevates.
You think that this is I think he elevated before the offseason, if we're talking about that. Like, I think this is the series where he really, like, the numbers may look otherwise, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like, this series, well, particular is Game 4 that kind of makes him kind of get into that. Because that was the first game, especially the first big game of his career, where he had to, and this is the shit. Like, they say
4 points on 20.
He makes one of these free throws, He makes one of these free throws. The commentators are talking at this point. I know we can't have it up because it'll copyright bullshit. But the commentator at the time is saying, you know, he most likely might miss one of these free throws because they're thinking he's a young player, whatever. It's a big moment. He's like, all he has to do is make one, and immediately he just swishes the first one and says, "Fuck that," and then he says, "Ring me," because he's that nigga. That's why, ring me. I wish I was watching at that point. I would have been wilding on anybody I was around. I would have been punching someone in the head or something, getting me hype as fuck. I would have bought a ring immediately. Fuck out of here. Let's go. And you want to know what's my favorite part about this? Just like Magic, Kobe got to dick down Bird a little bit. Fuck out of here. Told Bird, suck these balls. My shit.
Big old balls.
Yeah, he got to lose in LA one more time.